In this video, we are going to talk about the vertex, or the maximum in a parabola. And in this formula, it says if a football is kicked straight up with an initial velocity of 120 feet per second, 128 feet per second, with a height of 5 feet, then its height above the earth is a function of time giving this function. So this function represents the height of a football that has been kicked. And they ask you, it says, what is the maximum height reached by the ball? So if you notice in this function, it starts off with a negative in front of the t squared. So when we look at this, it looks something like this. It's opening down because we have a negative in front as our a term. And notice it asks us to find the maximum height. That is your vertex, and your vertex formula is negative b over 2a. So what I'm going to do is take my function and label a, b, and c. So you can see how I've done that. Then I'm going to plug those into the formula. But when I plug those in, I like to use parentheses around where my variables are located, and then I just take the variables, the values, and place them into my variables. So notice the original formula has a negative sign, so do not forget that negative sign. So it says negative b all over 2 times a. Well, a is negative 16 and b is 128. If you take this and type it into your calculator, you'll come up with a value of 4. Now, my original formula has x equals negative b over 2a, so I just carried that through. But notice in this formula, t represents my time, and my h is my height. So in this particular problem, my time, my t, is going to be really what I had as my x here. So my time is 4. Now if I want to find the height, notice in 4 seconds this thing reached the maximum height. If we want to know the height of that, we can take the value that we came up with for t and plug it into our function. And so notice we have the height when time is 4, and we'll just fill this in. And we want to type this into the calculator. So I've showed you both of these. Notice the top one is where I typed in to find my vertex. So I have negative, or the x in my vertex, or in our case the t. So I had negative 128 divided by parenthesis 2 times negative 16 and close parenthesis, because I'm dividing by those two numbers being multiplied. And then notice I fill in the value for 4, and I type that in, and I get a 261. So here's what we end up with. The height is 261 feet when the time is 4 seconds. So that's how you go about finding what is the maximum height reached by the ball.